Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie and this is Barista in Books. I'm making this video today because I want to talk about 10 books that I read in 2020 that I loved. I don't have these in any specific order. I just saw them on my bookshelf and I picked them up and I loved them. And I have a nice little selection of stuff that I want to talk about. Not all these books came out in 2020. They're just all books that I read in 2020. Some of them were new releases, and like I said, some of them weren't. Let's go ahead and just jump into it because this is the second time I've started recording this, and I'm hoping that maybe we can get through like one take without my kids walking in. So the first book I want to talk about is this is just like an author in general that I really enjoyed this year, and that's Junji Ito. I am holding up Remina, which was his new release in December. But I read much more than just this. I read Uzumaki, I read Gyo, I read Tomie, I read Shiver, I read Smashed. I love it. I love him. I think he's insane. He's disturbing, but I love it. I have been really re-exploring the horror genre this year, and I had a great experience with this. Like I said, this is his newest one. This is more of a sci-fi horror. I don't really like talking about like the story before you go in because I just feel like it kind of takes away from enjoying it in the present instead of like looking forward to what might be in it. So essentially all I'm gonna say is this is about a scientist who predicts that this planet comes close to Earth, and he names it Remina, which is his daughter's name, and his daughter starts getting attention because she was the namesake of the planet. He's a genuinely disturbing person. I love it though, and some of his stories don't make a lot of sense. I don't think that they're supposed to. You're just supposed to kind of be down for the ride. His illustrations are absolutely beautiful. And he does have a new book coming out in February or March called Love Sickness, which is a short story collection, which I am really looking forward to. So if you are looking for some horror manga, Junji Ito, I feel like he's a pretty common name at this point, but you know, I didn't hear about him till this year. So going into the romance genre, I don't read a lot of contemporary romance. It's just not my thing. But I did read a couple books this year that really stuck to me. And the first one being The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I did read The Simple Wild and Wild at Heart. I also am waiting for a copy of the third, like the novella that she just released. This book made me cry by the end of it. I am a sucker for father-daughter relationships. I lost my dad when I was like 6, basically 7 years old. So anything that has to do with daughters and dads, like I'm a puddle for it. So, but this is a book about a girl named Kala who I think she lives in Canada with her mom and her stepdad. And she's never had a really good relationship with her father, who lives in Alaska. He's a pilot. And one day she finds out that her dad has cancer, and she goes to try to reconnect with him. She goes to Alaska and she meets a boy, and like fun, hilarious things ensue, but also some like really touching and heart-wrenching things happen. So this is super good. I had never read anything from K.A. Tucker till I read this. So yeah, if you want to cry, you know, read it. It's great. The romance is really cute too. So the next book I want to talk about is a novella. It is the first one in a trilogy of novellas. I've never heard anybody talk about this author or this book in general, and that is I Think I Might Love You by Christina Jones. Is anybody else sleeping on this? Because first of all, Christina Jones is hilarious. This book was hilarious. The romance was hot, it was heavy, it was steamy. The characters were fantastic. I loved everything about this book. I was reading this at work and I laughed so hard I almost peed my pants. I was sold. If you can make me like almost have an accident, like you're gonna be in my top 10. I guess that's like, you know, my standard. You gotta make me cry or pee. Liquid has to come out. Oh God, no. Hopefully I can cut that out. Anyways, this was great. Y'all should read this. I have the other two. This came out in 2019. It's not old. I have not seen anybody talk about this. Pick it up. Read it. Okay? Anyways, next is going to be the sci-fi genre, and the first book I want to talk about is Salvaged by Madeline Rue. Rue? I think it's Rue. Anyways, this book, I still think about the characters. I just wanted to give each one of them like a giant hug and just love them forever, because they go through some things, and there's like this little romance that happens, and it's so sweet, and it's, oh my god, there's a coffee joke in it. I was sold. Y'all need to read this. Like, it's like sci-fi horror. It kind of reminded me of like, no, I'm not even gonna tell you what it reminds me of, because I feel like that might say too much about it. So read it. It's really, really good. I wouldn't say it's the best thing I've ever read, but I was so emotionally attached by the end of the book that I was like, oh my god, I can't deal with my life right now. So I loved it. I thought it was great. The next is actually just like the series in general. Like, I read everything. I've read, let's just go ahead and talk about the book. All Systems Read by Martha Wells, The Murderbot Diaries. I have read books 1 through 4 in the past 3 months. I mean, they're novellas, so it's not really that impressive, but I listened to the audiobooks. These are hilarious. I love Murderbot. Me and him would be best friends. I mean, probably not, because he hates humans and he's awkward, but I understand him so much that it was just great. I was reading things that I feel like would have come out of my mouth in certain situations, and it was great. I loved it. This is, like I said, the first one, and there are 4 novellas and a novel called like Mass Network or Network Effect or something. I always think of Mass Effect when I think of that book. I don't know why, but and then she has the next novella coming out in April, right before my birthday. I think it's called Fugitive Telemetry, but this is great. I was really afraid of the sci-fi genre for a long time, because I felt like, I'm not a very science brain person. I felt like I wasn't going to understand, but this was, you didn't really need to understand. You just kind of had to enjoy the ride, and it was great. Murderbot is hilarious. His thought process, the people and the bots that he meets, like, on his, like, journey, it's just great. It's, you know, and like I said, it's like how many pages? It's like not even, it's like 150 pages, right? Like, just try it. It's not going to take much of your time. Just try it. The next section I want to talk about, I really don't know how to classify it. It's like realistic horror, like, not realistic, like, I don't know. I want to say surrealism or like something like that. Anyways, we're just going to talk about the book. We're not going to talk about the genre that I can't think of the name to. But the first book I do want to talk about is, and this is book and author is Sylvia Moreno Garcia's Mexican Gothic. I love her as an author, just in general. I had read Gods of Jade and Shadow a month or 2 before I read Mexican Gothic, and I loved it. She's very immersive. Her settings are absolutely breathtaking. She pulls you down into her book, and you are experiencing these, you experience these things with these characters. And this was gross. It was gross and great all at the same time. There is some body horror, so if you don't do well with like gross stuff, don't read this. This was extremely creative. I would have never guessed what the twist was when I started reading this. Like the cover, like I would have never expected that this story was within this book just based off this cover. Like, and the cover's beautiful. Her writing is fantastic. I'm so excited to read more that she has to offer. I know she is, I think that they're re-releasing books she wrote in the past, because there's 2 that I tried to find copies of and I couldn't find them, or they were really expensive. And I think one was Certain Dark Things, which was like a vampire book, and then I can't remember the name of the other one, but she's a fantastic author. I loved both of the books I read by her this year, and anything she puts out I will probably buy, because she's just fantastic. I'm sorry, I'm saying a lot, but so the next book I want to talk about is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first Leigh Bardugo book that I have read. I know she's written a lot of books. I think most of them are YA. This one, I had my eye on it for a while. I thought it sounded kind of interesting, and then a friend let me borrow her copy, and I was reading it, and I feel like I was reading it the entire time just going, like, I was just, like, it was very shocking. Like, it was really, really good. It was really dark. The first chapter was very unsettling, to say the least. And the last line of the book, Leigh Bardugo, I'm gonna need to know when the sequel's coming out, because you can't leave off the book the way you did and then not have, I have seen nothing about the sequel. No announcement, no cover, no release date, and I check regularly. Nothing. So I'm gonna need you to give me something here, because I was thinking, oh, like Halloween time, because she was talking about doing some kind of like live thing on Instagram. I was like, she's gonna like hint at something, right? She's gonna say something about it. Nothing. Well, I didn't watch it, to be fair. I didn't watch it, but I was like listening to the book community and no one said anything. So I was like, okay, obviously she didn't come through the way I thought she was going to. So I do have the Shadow and Bone, like the books, up on my shelf. I do want to read those really soon, because I know there's a TV show coming out. I would like to read some more YA this year. I feel like I didn't read very much of it, and I usually don't. I'm usually much more of an adult reader, but the YA I did come across was very good this year. So my last section, which is my favorite, is my fantasy section. And I have 3 books here that I want to talk about, and these, they're all fantastic. So the first book I want to talk about is Kelcade, Fate of the Fallen. This book was great. I've heard nothing of a sequel, because it's supposed to be a series. It's supposed to be the Shroud of Prophecy series. And this was great. This was, I loved it. I thought it was great. The ending was like cliffhanger, like what? And it was just good. Like I liked it, and I didn't really see anybody else talk about this. I know I did talk to a friend about this, and he said that he wasn't a big fan of the trope that they use, where like the main character of the book wasn't the hero, it was like the hero's friend, which I really enjoyed. I know when I watch TV shows or read books, like I tend to like side characters more than I like main characters. So this was a book that gave me that, and it was great. I loved the friends that he made along the way. I loved him as a character. Like, he was very much like the person that didn't want to be there, didn't want to be doing what he's doing. And yeah, it was just really good. Like, I need the next book. I need it. You know what? I'm real tired. I'm real tired of authors putting out these amazing books and then not hearing anything about a sequel. Like, I know it's coming at some point, but like, I mean, Kelcade, Leigh Bardugo, George R.R. Martin. Where's the next Game of Thrones book at? Okay? Patrick Rothfuss. Y'all. Okay, so the next book I want to talk about is the trilogy in general, and also the author, and that is The Poppy War by R. Kwong. Everybody this year has been talking about this trilogy. I am reading the last book right now. I'm over halfway through, and this series is just heartbreaking. It's great. It's wonderful. It's not afraid to talk about the hard realities of war. It doesn't shy away from the consequences. It is a fantasy based off of, it has roots in the Sino-Japanese War, and the war on opium. Like, there's just like a lot of history that was brought into this book, and it is dark. There are a lot of trigger warnings. any trigger warning you can probably think of is probably in this book. And it's great because it's not afraid to go there. Which I feel like a lot of times when you read war-based books, they kind of skim over, you know, the consequences of difficult decisions. And this didn't. This was like, look, you're either going to have to let 1,000 people die over here or 10,000 people die over here. But you're not going to get to feel good about your decision. Like, oh, I made it for the greater good. Like, you're going to have to confront that. Like, those 1,000 people that died, you have to confront that. Those were people with lives and families, and you get to look that in the face. And that's what this did. It was fantastic. The writing was fantastic. The characters were very morally gray, which is how I like my characters. I really enjoy a morally gray hero, also a villain. Those are characters I really enjoy reading because most people are not just inertly good or evil. They're usually doing what they think is right, and it just happens to not be a great thing for other people, or it happens to benefit other people. So read this. Everyone's talking about it for a reason, right? And last but not least, this is probably my favorite book of the year, and I can't wait for the third book to come out, and that is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. Holy cow, this book was fantastic. I did read this, and I read Bloody Rose, which is the sequel. I have never loved a group of friends more than I loved this book. The characters in this book. I know a lot of people try to talk about, like, oh, Harry Potter and his friends, or like, you know, the Raven Boys, or, you know, whatever. This is what friendship goals are. This is it, y'all. This is it. And I didn't like Bloody Rose as much as I liked this. I wish I got another book about this band saga. They're literally every character in this group you loved with your whole heart. Everybody. Gamleon, Moog. Moog was freaking fantastic. Like, Clay Cooper. I cried and laughed within the first 40 pages. Okay? And I know I said I cried twice already talking about these books, but I actually really don't cry all that often. It takes either me to be in a really emotional place to cry, or like it has to be really freaking sad. This was fantastic. If you read any of the books that I recommended, I mean, you should read all of them, but this was so fun and so creative and so just badass. Look at the cover though. Like, I feel like you should expect that, as almost cheesy as it looks. It does have its roots in, I'm gonna look real stupid in front of older people. I am 30, but I did not live through, it's like 80s rock, 70s. I didn't get the music, like Easter eggs in this, like the band Easter eggs in this, because that's not the music I grew up in the 90s. So some of the music references, the band references, kind of went over my head a little bit, but that actually does not impede you from enjoying this book. It's just great. It's just a great book. It's fantastic. It's well written. It's like, the book's so good I'm stuttering, right? It's great. And I'm not telling you descriptions about any of these books, because I'm already at 18 minutes long. So, but yeah, it's great. Just read it. That's all you gotta do is just read this book. And this one is a little bit of a chunkier boy. He's about 500 pages long, but it's just it's the best book of the year. I love this book. I love it. So anyways, that was 10 books that I read in 2020 that I freaking loved. All of them were fantastic. It was just a great reading year. I read 77 books I read 77 books in 2020, because it's not 2020 anymore. And I'm hoping to even have a better reading year this year, and to post videos more regularly, you know? So I just want to say that I'm really happy to be here. If you saw this video and you liked it, please like it, comment, subscribe, you know, the whole spiel that people give you. Yeah, I want to be on here more. I want to talk about books, you know? I want to talk about things. So, yeah, thanks so much for stopping by, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!